What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Real Fans FC, episode 32. Man, I don't know why. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like me and Adam in particular, it feels like we've done more than 32. Because we've been doing this for just about a year or just over a year. And I feel like we did not miss that many weeks for some reason. I feel like we're usually pretty consistent. I don't know how it seems like we're only at 32. I feel like we should be pushing 50 or something, but possibly. I don't know. And we already lost Will because, you know, he felt excluded. So, but anyway, how you feeling, Adam? How you doing?
Feeling good. Got some interesting games to talk about.
Yeah. I know you were excited about that Panthers win last night. Got to bounce back. Can't lose to the Bruins.
Indeed. Fuck Boston.
All right, Will's back. Will, how you doing?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Good. School's out. Summer's here. Ready to continue grinding. And yeah, we got some good footy action to talk into this episode.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah. Finals went well.
You're in O-Town?
Passed everything. So I'm in O-Town.
Yeah.
But I'm in O-Town, but yeah. But my Magic are out, so you win. You win some, you lose some. So, but it happens. Hey, Donovan Mitchell's not going to win in the next round, so that's all I gotta say.
Oh my God, yeah, Boston's going to absolutely smoke them.
It's mollywop them, yeah. And I'm
anyways,
all for it.
Let's talk about the sport that we're here to all talk about, and that is the beautiful game. And let's start off here in CONCACAF. We now have our final set for the Continental Tournament. The Liga MX versus MLS, Pachuca versus Columbus, the two biggest names in CONCACAF. Said no one ever. But we're here. And let's start off with a little bit of Club America Pachuca game. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Will. What was kind of your thought process looking at both legs and now the final leg, Pachuca coming out?
I think, the big thing going into leg 2 for America was they've been able to perform on the road, not only in CONCACAF and the CCL, but being able to compete even as well in their league, in their respective league over in Mexico in the Liga MX. But this was a different beast. Pachuca was, I will quite honestly say, they were geared for this moment. I mean, Salomon Rondon, he's the top goal scorer right now in the CCL, 7 goals. The guy's been on fire as well in the league. I mean, Pachuca was just really, you could tell, they were like a pencil sharpener. They are sharpening that bad boy up. Like, they're getting ready for these 2 games. And I think they they executed perfectly. First leg, got a 1-1 draw, what they needed to do. I think they were even okay with the loss. Went into leg 2. They went in there, were able to go in and execute it perfectly. I think Club America, the storyline yet again for these guys is going to be failed opportunities, missed chances, not being able to put the ball in the back of the net. We always criticize Henry Martin with Mexico. We can even criticize him with Club America. He just looks so flat-footed. And this guy, I don't know how much more longer, their fans are going to support him, but he's unsupportable at this point. But Club America, yet again, just falling short again.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, too, exactly. I felt like it was in both legs. Club America really controlled the game in the beginning, but then it was towards the end, they just kind of fizzled out and started losing the ball and not playing well because they're starting off super strong, especially with the way Alex Zendejas was playing in the first leg and in the second leg. They're starting off super strong, but then they kind of fizzled out. Quinones was nowhere to be found, which he's supposed to be like the big new Mexican star that they're trying to bring up and all this stuff. And like you said, look, Pachuca, a lot of people questioned them because you look at their path, they absolutely obliterated Philly, who just wasn't ready for it. And then they played a very weak Herediano side that they were not ready for that challenge. And they were honestly kind of lucky to be there in the first place by the big upset they had against Toluca. So, yeah, the goal differential is insane for this tournament for them. And then, they held up well at the first game at the Azteca, leading into a 1-1 draw, which is huge to get that result at the Azteca. And then to go home and do what they did and come away with the win. And then obviously Club America getting frustrated with the red card at the end of the game. And, I was a little surprised, but you know what? They held it together. And like you said, Rondon guy has been playing lights out all tournament. This has been his tournament. Wow. I mean, Pachuca's lighting it up, and they're going to host the final because of the goal differential. Look, the route they had was a lot smoother, so that's going to help them in the long run.
Definitely.
Look, I mean, I think there's a lot of question marks into how CONCACAF selects certain teams to play in, especially specifically from the MLS side, because there's so much turnover. But man, if you're Pachuca right now, you're riding super high. I mean, a lot of people had Club America being the favorites to win the whole tournament with the way that they're playing, but not even just that game, but also, like you said, well, in league play, they're starting to fall off and get caught as they approach the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Let's bounce. Okay, what, Adam?
I just want to say real quick. I mean, you guys definitely said it all, but just before we bounce over, I agree. I was definitely one of those people who I think I had Club America as going through. I don't remember if I said they would win or not, to be honest, but I thought they would get to the final when we were going through these brackets. So, I mean, you got to give credit to Pachuca, and honestly, Rondon. I mean, he may be old, but he's got that experience. So I really think that's gonna help. He's that leader coming into a final that they get to host. So I think that's gonna be big for them. But we'll talk about their opponent, Julian, if you want to bring that match up. And
I do want to say Club America is in first place, and they play Pachuca next as of right now. So I'm curious to see how that rematch goes in this second leg.
Good stuff.
I mean, at the end of the league play. But yeah, let's go over to obviously probably the bigger match of the two, what people are talking about the most, specifically on our side of the border, and that was Columbus Crew going to Monterrey and absolutely shocking the world, the soccer nation, and all of CONCACAF by not only beating Monterrey, but beating them handily. And what they did was just absolutely impressive. I'm gonna kick it off of you, Will, first. Like, what was like watching this game, both legs? Like, how did you feel, your emotions as you went through and the way you looked at this game?
Well, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I mean, Adam even said this on the last pod. This is Real Fans Podcast. So I'm not an expert analysis. So I'm not going to be like, well, I was in front of a 70-inch flat screen TV. I watched the game on my phone because I had a final, dude, that same night, and it was over 50% of my grade. So I wasn't like, I couldn't be like,
illegal.
What's going on? Yeah. So, dude, I'm trying to watch.
You gave me PTSD from those fucking days, man.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm all over the place. So I'm trying to watch it. But, dude, honestly, 3 words. Jason Russell Rowe. Guy was lights out. Guy has truly been incredible all throughout the season for the Crew. Last season, what he was able to do. I mean, I think Wilfred Nancy as well is such a class. Like, he's such a master class of a coach. He genuinely could coach, I think, anywhere in Europe. Maybe, obviously, well, let me rephrase that. Not any team in Europe, but he could coach.
Yeah, there's some fucked up. There's some fucked up teams in Europe that can't be saved. Yeah. There's not a thing you can do to save them. Dude, but yeah, I get it.
He's just such a good coach. Yeah, and honestly, bro, from Monterrey's
he's the best coach in the MLS and arguably the best coach in all of North America, North and Central America, arguably.
Most definitely. And Monterrey, I think they just showed that when it came down to it, they weren't able to compete. And I mean, the Crew, dude, I mean, going into Tigres, beating Tigres, going into Monterrey, beating Monterrey. I mean, this whole team, their team is fired up right now. I wouldn't hold it against them, and I know we'll talk about it in the preview, but they could do anything in Pachuca as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
For
They're
me,
set
too,
up for it.
They, man, watching them play, specifically in this tournament, because, they've kind of put MLS to the side a little bit. I don't genuinely outside. I mean, you can make the argument for Miami too. Like, I don't think I've ever seen an MLS team play with this much quality since I've been watching it. It's unreal the way that they're passing, the way they're moving the ball. It's very top 5 EuroLeague-esque, like the way that they're moving and tactically and the way he's getting the most out of these players. Look, these guys, outside outside of Cucho and Rossi, I don't like how many of these guys make the All-Star. Maybe you can make an argument for Aidan Morris or Darlington Nagbe, but like just as a whole and how you're playing and the way that they're coming, the role players, like you said, Russell Rowe coming off the bench, Christian Ramirez, the way that there's just so much depth on this team. And we've seen it not just this past game, but even with Tigres, like at home, losing your star striker and then Aidan Morris getting a red card and maintaining that lead and getting a tie and then going to Monterrey to play Tigres and holding out. And realistically, Tigres, they got that easy goal by mistake by Schulte. So they really didn't get in and created a full chance. There was the whole, like, was it offsides? I don't know about that. That was a little sketchy. But even so, to do what they did, take it to pens and advance was huge. And then they did pretty much the same thing when they faced Monterrey, except they were a little bit more cohesive now. You know, they had Cucho back after that weird sabbatical that Nancy made him take, which shows how that, to me, that moment showed how good of a coach he was the fact that he's like, I don't care that you are DP. I don't care that you are a star player. I don't care that this is a big game. I got to make a point. I made it and we still made it through. Like, that is insane to me. Like, it's like, no other coach in MLS would have the fucking balls, the fucking cojones to fucking do that move and to have faith in himself and the rest of his team to do that. And so, but you go into in the semifinals against Monterrey and at home, like, maintained the game, just controlled it, really dominated, especially in the second half. And this has kind of been the crew team. Like Monterrey was really holding it down that first half in the second leg. They were dangerous. I thought first, I was like, oh man, the crew are done. This is pretty much it. But then Aidan Morris, that goal right before half, just flipped a switch, dude.
Changed the
right
game.
Before half, puts it tied on aggregate. Yeah. Then they go out of the second half and they kept that tide going. They kept on moving and they were just dominating the ball the way they were playing in transition. Monterrey couldn't control or couldn't create anything really, no clear-cut chances. So it's really impressive to see what they did, not only in a semifinals and make a finals and against a Mexican, but the way they won. Like, I don't think it's the first time that an MLS team has beaten a Mexican team at Mexico in regulation. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah. And I do want to mention about this game is that one thing is that Columbus also did well. They got into Monterrey's head. Monterrey was playing a lot of that tie, angry. And that really benefited Columbus. Once they got into their heads and they started, the emotions started coming out, you really felt like, oh boy, this is it.
Yeah.
And you can even see too, like, even from the Monterrey fans, they're after what happened at the end of that game, it was almost like a level of respect of what just happened. That was I've never seen a Mexican fan base kind of look like that.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far.
In the way that
I was going to say, I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, but like in the way that they usually do things, like
they were probably too stunned to talk shit.
I think they were.
That's what I'm saying. There was more.
Dude.
That too.
I don't know. I think there's, from what people were saying, there was like a little bit of a level of like, look, this is the first MLS team to ever just come over here and just do that and just
let us know what y'all think in the comments.
Like,
let us know.
Well, that's the thing too. It wasn't like they lost and it was some fluke shit or it was like a VAR result or whatever. It's like they just got beat. And from what I heard, people were saying it was like a level of like, all right, respect. You fucking like in the best way they can show it. Those fans can show it. But I'm super excited to see I think they can get it done. And I've been thinking about it the past couple of weeks. Is this the best MLS team ever with what they've accomplished so far?
It's hard to say that during this season.
Yeah.
But based off just pure like performances, not like and talent. Obviously, you can say like, oh, the Galaxy like 20 years ago, but like let's be real, like that was a different league. Players weren't as good. Like as a whole collective, this might be the most talented best MLS team. Obviously, look, you can make the argument for Miami, but Miami hasn't won any major tournament yet, and I don't really count Leagues Cup. And look, we'll see down the road. But this is a Monterrey team Miami couldn't even beat and struggled against mightily. Like Miami didn't even look like they couldn't compete at all, honestly. And you see Columbus going there through probably more adversity than we had to and absolutely dominated. I think just based off talent and based off the way that they're performing, dude, like I'm saying, like I've never seen an MLS team play like that. Mm-hmm. Like I think obviously if you're just talking about pure talent and what's on the field and what they did and coach and Manny Ruggiero, this might be the best MLS team. Like is this Columbus team? I think this Columbus team smacks any team the first 15 years of MLS.
Seattle Sounders 30 years ago.
Dude.
Well, I don't know. That's easy to say though, because the league 4 or 5 years ago was so much worse. I mean, I remember going to a game when I was a freshman in college in 2016, and I'm just like, holy fucking shit! Like I only went to see Pirlo at the time, and I was like, this man looks like he's lost. He's like, what did I get myself into?
Granddad Pirlo.
Horrible. And that's what I'm saying.
And it's just so much different now. It's a watchable league. It turned into a watchable league. So I mean, I don't know. That's kind of like one of those arguments where people say like, it's hard to. It's like saying like, oh yeah, well Babe Ruth wouldn't hit a single home run if he was up against the pitchers nowadays. You know, you can't really make that comparison.
No, but
even though it seems like 15 years, the league was created.
Julian, you got something to say, Julian?
I think you can make that argument because you're comparing two different leagues. You're not just talking about baseball and the sport as a whole. That's like, I think what you're saying, Adam, is more akin to like Messi and Pele. Like, yeah, those guys played in completely different eras. I mean, we're talking about within a 20-year span, Mexico.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I know it sounds like it's like a long span, but that 20-year span is like an 80-year span in all the other American sports. That's how much it's changed with all the talent coming in, the academies that we now have.
Does that not
a lot more changed in 20 years?
It doesn't, though.
They're literally the first team.
LAFC 3 years ago was better.
LAFC did not win at Mexico, though. They were not good enough.
They did, though.
Nobody was not. No, they didn't. And that was the COVID year when the stadiums were empty. No, but because last year they played MLS teams. Last year they played MLS teams to get to the final. Remember, they played the Union to get into the final. I'm talking about they beat Tigres and Monterrey, 1 and 2 of the best CONCACAF teams as of right now. The two best, according to CONCACAF, their own rankings, they ended up beating both of them at their own house and becoming the first team to do that. Even if you look at that Seattle run was a breeze. I think they beat Leon, who wasn't that good that year. And then they beat a Pumas team. Oh, they played New York City FC in the semifinals. And then they beat a Pumas team, which even Mexican fans were trashing. There's like, if there's any team to give a MLS team their first ever Champions League, it would be Pumas. Because Pumas is like the laughing stock according to the big Gigantes. Like they're like the one team everybody expects. They're not surprised. Versus literally, I mean, look, obviously there's still a final to play. And they're gonna have to play in Pachuca. Like, come on, guys. If they beat Pachuca at home, like how 100%. Can I mean, if you look at that route, Pachuca, they went through the fucking gauntlet to get to where they did. Like Seattle would not win. Seattle 2 years ago would not have made it to the final if they went to the same route as Columbus. That's just my thought. I don't think they would have been good enough. And I don't think they have the depth. And that's kind of like my rationale behind it. And I mean, dude, you're literally talking about Miami got smacked by Monterrey. I know obviously there's injuries, but like that proves to the fact that like Miami had no depth. Columbus has depth. I mean, I have fucking Messi and Suarez and they couldn't beat them because of the lack of depth and the team as a whole. I mean, our bench Tata was literally homegrown people. I think Tata, but he's part of the team, isn't he? Will Fernandes is the best coach in MLS, and I don't even think it's close. And like you said, he's going to be going to Europe probably next year, my guess. Maybe not. And I see him going to like a more Xabi Alonso route, maybe like a mid-table European team. Obviously, he shouldn't. I don't think he would be able to make that big jump to some big Champions League team. But he's going to maybe go to a Dutch league or a Bundesliga. He's a guy he's the only MLS coach I can genuinely think of right now who can seriously make the jump and be successful. Like Tata's not good enough to coach in Europe. He got fucking bounced out of Barcelona immediately.
Bruce Arenas.
I'm just saying, I think there's a real argument. There's a real argument to be made for Columbus potentially being the best. I'm curious to see what other people think, because watching them play is different. That shit is special. Like watching them play is genuinely special. But anyways, so I guess let's predict this final. So we have obviously Columbus Crew playing at Pachuca. All right, Will, I'll start off with you first.
Yeah.
Who do you got? It's a single leg this year. A single leg.
Single leg.
No double legs.
Finally. Yeah.
Thank God. No way goals. We can say
no way goals. We don't need to worry.
If they did away goal.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about away goals.
It's like away draw. It's like you draw away, you win.
Yeah, it's like
could you imagine?
You just drew in the final match of the final for the championship, and you drew the team you're trying to beat, and you won the cup because of away goals. No, thank God that's gone. Yeah. I mean, oh gosh, getting to the game though, I think Columbus has the edge team-wise. Vibe-wise, like you just said, Julian, and Adam as well. Both of you guys said it. The aurora going around this team. You just went into Monterrey and you just beat Tigres and you beat Monterrey. And like you said, the Tigres game was arguably was way more competitive. Had to go to penalties. You needed Schulte to come up huge. He, revenged himself after that. Absolutely disastrous play. But in Monterrey, you just walked into their house and you just mollywhopped these guys. And Julian, you said something earlier, and I disagree a little bit. You were saying Columbus might have had more pressure. Columbus might have had more to lose in a sense. It was a semifinal, so I'll give you that. But the thing is, dude, Miami had gone in there. Kind of. You said something like you were like they had more pressure in a way. And I'm going to say I disagree, because I think Miami had more of the sense of Messi was, obviously talking a little bit of crap. Suarez, the whole back, locker room crap, whatever happened, but the thing is like, there was so much going into that game, more personal, obviously the head coach of Monterrey and things like that. But dude, Columbus, I mean, even pressure, no pressure, they're playing. And I agree with you, dude. They are playing like with almost like a European-esque type of feel, so the vibes are high for this team. And Will Fernandes is going to keep it rolling. I don't think they're phased at all about going to Pachuca. They probably honestly want to go there. To be keeping it quite honest, they kind of have
going to Monterrey is scarier than going to Pachuca.
100%, 100%.
And I think that's going to be the key. I think Nancy's gonna have that group well coached for that final.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Really prepared. I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say Columbus is going to do it. I think they've made us all proud this season. Yeah. MLS supporters, people that watch the Champions League. Columbus is going to do it. Overtime win. Chucho.
This always happens to Will. This always happens. But all right, go ahead, Will. You're back. Hit me with it again. Go. All right, there we go.
All right. It's going to be the final minute. Cucho Hernandez, Cucho, whatever you guys call him. Boom, off the head, 2-1. He's going to win it. Extra time. Pachuca is going to be pissed. Liga MX fans are going to talk a bunch of crap that they've been doing all season. But I believe in Columbus, and I believe in all the MLS faithful. We know that they can win this for us. So.
All right, Adam, I'll give it off to you.
Yeah,
who do you got?
like I said, I mean, this really, you look at both these teams and their pads, and you'd have to think Columbus is the favorite, and I would pick them because of Nancy and just how he's got that team playing. But Pachuca being at home and having taken down Club America, even though they have been struggling, it could go either way, but I have to go with Columbus.
What you got, Julian?
This is a tough one for me because I'm rooting for Columbus, and I think what they've done and what they've shown this tournament has been great. But I don't want to be biased either, because you also look at Pachuca, and that's nothing to sleep on. I mean, they absolutely destroyed Philadelphia, absolutely destroyed Herediano, and not obliterated, but played a really good game against Club America, which a lot of people had being the favorites. And that's no slouch. And they beat Club America at home.
Yeah.
At home. And that's, if you're a Columbus fan, that's something to worry about, because, I mean, going into that game, Club America was rolling. They're feeling confident. They're playing well, So I really have a tough one picking this one. But I believe that, like you guys said, and like I kind of mentioned earlier, playing at Monterrey is a tougher feat. I think that's, like, if there's a fan base that's more ruthless and going after you harder, it's probably going to be a Monterrey. And I think going to Pachuca is not going to be as bad. And like you said, the boys are going to be ready. This is also a Pachuca team that's not used to being in this position. So you have both teams that are like, look, if you're playing Club America in the final, then I'm gonna be like, oh shit, like, all right, like, like they're kind of built for this type of
good luck,
this game. But but now you're talking about a Pachuca team who's also kind of new to this spot right now in recent years. I'm going to have to go with Columbus because I think as a whole, they're just playing so well. I think Schulte's playing out of his mind. I think the way the midfield and the attack are combining has been so good. I think the MLS, Camacho, is it Camacho or Carmacho? Drawing a blank. But the way the defense is playing is just really well. And then coming off the bench, like you said, Russell Rowe, he adds that bit of speed and that legs that you need late in games that can, man. And Diego Rossi, to me, has been like probably Columbus's MVP for this tournament, because the way he is just facilitating the ball is just, it's honestly beautiful to watch. So I think they get it. I think it's going to be a fucking nail biter, though. I think you're going to get a 1-1 slog and go into extra time, and I think it's going to go PKs. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a really hard time. I have a really hard time predicting Pachuca to only put up one goal. I have a really hard time having them only put up one goal. But I think Columbus is going to maintain the tempo. I think they're going to hold possession. And they're probably going to give one away in transition, my guess. So I think it's 1-1, and you're going to extra time. Maybe somebody scores. I think Columbus scores somewhere around there and probably goes to PKs. But I'm going Columbus here, especially with the experience that they had going to PKs already. I think they're ready for it.
Now, let me ask you all this.
Man, that's going to be an exciting game to watch.
Who's going to be the difference maker? Who's going to be the one from either team? Who do you guys think is going to be the standout? Like, he's going to make or break a moment.
I mean, you got to talk Salomon Rondon, obviously, one of the best strikers in Liga MX right now. And to me, for Columbus, is Diego Rossi. I think he's been the main facilitator for them.
On another, like he's definitely took him some time to adjust, but yeah, I agree with that.
I like those two. I think you got a guy and a striker who's lethal and will put one away. And then you have a guy with Rossi who has the speed and the creativity to really play well. I think Cucho could potentially be a big difference maker, but it can I don't know. It really depends which Kucho you're going to get this game, because I feel like in this tournament, he hasn't been, not that he's played bad. I think he's played well, but you would like to see a little bit more from him, especially in these type of games. But Rossi to me, has stepped up a lot, even though the ratings or whatever might say that he's been a slightly above average. I think there's more to that than what the algorithms are saying, which I don't even understand how they get these algorithms, but yeah. They miss out on the aura statistic. You know, you need to have that aura, you know.
They don't get the vibes. They don't get the vibes in the room.
The vibe. They don't get the vibes ratings. You know, what's his vibes rating out of 5?
Ooh, Kucho?
Yeah, what's it? No, Rossi. What's his vibes rating?
Oh, let's give him a 1 out of 10. I gotta give Rossi.
Damn.
Dude. No, 1 out of no. I'm saying like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10.
No. Dude, I hate that guy. No, bro. He honestly, Rossi's.
Will's like, I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. He's honestly probably like a solid 7, 8. He always seems like to have good vibes. He's always telling his teammates like good stuff. He seems encouraging. He seems definitely like a locker room type of guy. I mean, he's a short guy as well. So, you know, it's usually the shorter, the wingers that are normally telling people what to do. So I could see it.
Well, I mean, Adam, what's your vibe scale? Who's bringing the most vibes to the game?
What do you think, Adam? I want to hear
most vibes. Even though I think that Columbus, even though I think Columbus is going to win, I think Rondon's gonna bring the vibes.
The vibes.
He's gonna make it tough. He's gonna make it tough for Columbus. He's gonna make America.
What about you, Julian? Who's the vibe? It could be a coach. It could be anybody, even the fans.
Vibes guy, dude. Maybe it's gotta be Nagby, bro. Right? The vibes. I mean, the veteran. He's been there.
Yeah,
he's confident. You know, he's been there, done that. You know, he's always played at a high level. He could be a vibe. He could be the vibes guy. Look, I don't know. I'm not in that locker room, but he seems passionate. The him or Morris, which like Morris could be another. He could be one of those guys that are a huge difference maker because
young kid,
he's been playing Canadian in this tournament too.
Yeah,
Weston dudes from Weston FC, Weston legend, local youth club here.
Wait, Aiden is?
Yeah.
What?
He's from West. He played out Weston FC or whatever the fuck it's called.
I thought he was Canadian though.
Club.
He may be Weston.
So.
Weston's
he's
one
American.
of those academies. I'm just saying Weston is one of those academies.
Damn, well, no ball knowledge, dude.
No, wait. No. Hey, we saw your comments, by the way, last time for all you viewers. We saw that.
No ball knowledge.
Yeah, calling us out. It's all good.
All right, man. All right, let's hop over to the other continent, to Europe, and talk about their continental trophy. But let's start off first with the Europa League. Will, I know this was the matchup you were most anticipated for, and that is Atalanta versus Marseille.
Yeah.
What do you think of this game today? So we're all kind of coming in here fresh, so none of us has really had a chance to really sit down and like think about what happened or rewatch some highlights or whatever.
Yeah, so it's not going to be. We're not going to definitely be as in depth, but
yeah.
I will say,
brief things.
I watched more of the Leverkusen game. So I got some thoughts on that game. That was insane. But Will, I know you watched this one more because you have a dog in the fight.
I know.
We'll put about $200 on he put $200 on Atalanta, or Marseille. Dude, my bad.
Marseille,
he's hurting right now. He's hurting.
It sucked, dude. Hey, just for all the
he's gonna get groceries tonight.
For all the people watching, by the way. Julian and me, we were texting a little bit we have our group chat between the three of us. And I was like, oh man, like I'm excited. I hope Marseille wins. And Julian was like, oh wow, like why? And I just dropped down. And it's truth for Panama. He's only our second Panamanian player to ever make it to a European semifinal, whether that's Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League. The other guy, it was Julio Deli Valdez back in the 80s, and he made it with PSG. But this was like a massive moment for us, for the country. Obviously, I was really rooting for Marseille. I'm not an ultra. I'm not a Marseille lover, but I wanted to see the club do well. So he would do well
love Marseille
to continue.
Aubameyang fan account. You have a Aubameyang fan account.
Aubameyang was very distraught. But I mean, Atalanta, I think the second, I'm just going to say this. I didn't get to watch a lot of the game, but I did see some of it. The second Atalanta knocked out Liverpool, even though Liverpool are kind of choking right now.
Yeah.
You had to think that they were they had the favorite. They were the favorite. They've been playing these last few games, especially in Serie A, they kind of turned up their form a little bit. So just based on that, they definitely had the upper hand going into it. And they proved it, and they moved on. And Alba was crying. Feel bad for him, but Marseille not doing so well. Marseille, they were like a mid-table team. They're, I believe, in 9th place. Yeah, 11 wins, 11 draws. Jesus Christ.
The Marseille downfall it's been rough. I mean, you're talking about a team that was always like a perennial, contender in Ligue 1, and they're struggling. But, Will's been there through thick and thin. Marseille.
Fighting with them, man.
Yeah.
Fighting with them, dude. Hey, I didn't want to tell the people real quick, though. I was excited for the game. Obviously, was going to watch it. But I dropped something in our little group, like I was telling y'all earlier. And Julian responded back when I was like, oh, dude, this could be our first finalist for Panamanian history, yada, yada, yada. And Julian was like, oh, I can't relate. And you guys probably know he's Costa Rican. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. We have this whole message group. You guys can see it. We'll tell you later, whatever. But dude, I got a little bit pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, you can't relate? All right. So we kind of were dropping memes back and forth. But
no, wait, you forgot what I added with that though. I said I can't relate, and I drop a GIF of my boy Keylor Navas lifting the UCL for the 3rd time in a row.
I know, dude. I know that was. Obviously, we can't relate to that aspect. I mean, with respect, Keylor Navas, the best footballer in Central American history. I'll say that for sure.
I'll say CONCACAF history. Don't even limit us to Central America. Don't limit that.
Champions Leagues, yeah.
Actually, I'll say that. I'd say that, yeah. Best in CONCACAF.
He's by far not even close. The only other one that has a Champions League trophy, I think, is Pulisic.
Yeah.
And he was a super sub. Was he starting? No, he did come off the bench that game. I don't know. Either way, that's neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the game, though. I mean, absolute fumble by Marseille. I mean, they played like atrocious, man. Like what Aubameyang, like Adam said, was just not playing well.
Zero attack.
Like everybody was just awful.
Everybody was off.
He wasn't that. You said he got knocked up. Not knocked up.
Oh boy! I would hope not.
I hope not. I was about to say
that's why he didn't play. He got a little injury knock, and so he for what you said, he's been the main starter at the right back position for them. So this is a Marseille team that wasn't prepared for this. I thought they had a good showing in the first leg, especially at home. But then obviously the toughest matches, going to Italy is tough, man. Going to Italy is really tough. And like you said, Marseille, look, they've been going all in on this Europa League basket. They've been going absolutely insane on it. They obviously Aubameyang is the golden boot leader for the tournament. And to see him just drop an absolute deuce and nothing happen is honestly even a little shocking, even though the fact that you're away. But then you go back and you look at this Atalanta team, and not only what they did in this tournament, but what they're doing in Serie A. They're rolling right now, and they're in the middle of a big Champions League battle right now in Serie A. Obviously, just now, or it's official now, Italy has a 5th spot just alongside Germany. So now with that being in Italy, I mean, with that 5th spot being in place, Atalanta is now in a Champions League position. So worst case, they lose the tournament. They could probably still make it to Champions League. But they've been playing well, and I've been watching them in the Serie A slowly go up the ladder. They started off very slow, but now they're starting to build. And then you see what they're doing in Europa League, and man, they're balling. They're playing well. And to me, what did it for me is seeing how they played against Liverpool was amazing. They played so well.
Yeah, like I said, after that, you'd have to think like just on their form that they were going to be, they were going to have the upper hand. Yeah. And they're doing better in a tougher league.
And it wasn't even like it was fluky or anything. Like they dominated Liverpool in both legs, at home and away. So they really, like, outside of Mo Salah was like the only one to really do anything going into that game. So I had all the faith in the world in Atalanta to do what they're doing, because I thought Marseille could compete, but I just had a feeling eventually they were going to get caught. Yeah. And Atalanta being tested and having that second leg, I was like, man, this is going to be theirs in the bag. And then I was like, Marseille had to come out of that first leg with a win. They had to get a goal advantage, but they didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was a solid result, but man, you got to get a farther lead, especially against this Atalanta team who's absolutely rolling right now, and honestly is probably the biggest threat to Leverkusen into the final. But yeah, speaking of Leverkusen though, let's hop over to the other game. That game was an absolute thriller. Adam, I'm gonna push it over to you. What did you think of that game? Watching it,
crazy game. Leverkusen, you can't count them out. They refuse to be beaten. I got to clap for them because they have just now earned the right to sing the very famous Arsenal song, 49 Unbeaten, because that's what they are. They're unbeaten in 49 straight games. So, yeah, good company, huh, Leverkusen? Feels good, doesn't it? They're the Bundesliga champions.
Adam's like a Leverkusen fan now. Oh, geez.
Yeah, they got to respect it.
It's a second team.
But I mean, oh my God, it's just so funny. I mean, down 2-0, as soon as the 80th minute hit, you'd have to think like, okay, all right, what's gonna happen here? And of course, they scored 2, and put the icing on the cake. And they're the favorites. They're playing Champions League quality football in the Europa League. So, I mean, I don't really care who they're playing against, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hit it well. Go.
Yeah, this team, and what's crazy is even when they scored, when they were tied 2-2 on aggregate, and when Paredes hit both penalties and they tied it up on ag, Leverkusen only needed 1 goal, and they could have still lost the game 2-1. But dude, this team is literally
you gotta go for the win at that point.
That's what I'm saying, dude. They're literally allergic to losing, bro. Like, I'll be honest, like, I was at work, and I was, like I said, I was really watching the Marseille-Atalanta game, and obviously watching Marseille struggle completely. But I was just watching, like, Leverkusen to score, and I'm looking at my phone, and I'm looking, they got it 2-1. They're probably going to lock in, try to bring on, more heavy defense with, I forgot that one German guy, push, obviously, Xhaka back, try to go heavy defense. Dude, they did like the complete opposite. Like, I saw a little bit of the highlights. They almost like were pushing for more and more. And I'm just like, dude, this team will not lose. Like, they're refusing to lose. They're literally like that kid in the school lunch line who you're saying, hey, man, your turn is not yet. Your table's over there. This is that kid that says, I don't give a crap. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go get my chicken sandwich. Like, dude, they do not refuse, bro. And they will keep going. But like Adam said, dude, massive props to them. I'm not a Leverkusen fan, so I can't speak so much on the massive accomplishments. But, dude, I've got to say the team that they have with Palacios and Ngapié, I mean, also the Nigerian up front. What's his name? This guy's been incredible. You guys know his name. I can't remember. Who?
No. He's the one that started today.
Boniface. No, Boniface. Dude. Oh. This guy, I mean, the whole season in general has been incredible, but I'll hand it back to you, Julian. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, dude, the game was honestly amazing to watch. I mean, from Leverkusen dominated that game from start to finish, really. Like, watching that first half, God, it felt like, and we're going to get into it more, but it felt like watching that PSG Dortmund game. It was just like it wasn't going in. It's banging off the post. And honestly, shout out to the Roma keeper, Salivar. I cannot say his fucking name. I'm so bad at these European names sometimes. Salivar. I don't know. People know what the fuck I'm talking about. He had one hell of a game, honestly. Shout out to that guy. He played really well. I thought he was one of the main reasons that even kept Roma into the game. But man, they couldn't get it through. They kept on trying over and over again. And like you said, Xhaka had an amazing game. The way he was distributing that ball and watching it, he was just pinpoint passes over and over and over again. The way they
he was like that when he left Arsenal. It's not like he changed. He was good when he left. When he left us, he was just getting older. That's all really.
And the guy's just like, the way that this Leverkusen system plays, it's just the way they ping the ball back and forth to each other and the way it just moves it's just incredible. And to see the system and the tactics and the way everybody seems to know where they need to go. They know where they need to move. They all feel like they understand each other and where they're going. And then Roma takes the lead off of some kind of dumb mistakes on their part that led to 2 penalties. One being the stupid handball, which I'm like, dude, why is your hand up like that? It was just a really dumb handball. And then just a terrible foul and for the first goal in the box where you just got to be careful. You can't do that because realistically, I didn't see Roma getting a goal in this game if it wasn't for the pens. Like they just weren't.
Yeah.
I'm not creating well outside of Pellegrini. Pellegrini seemed to be the only one really creating anything or doing anything. Lukaku was non-existent. It felt like it was Leverkusen's game to win. So when they went up 2, I'm like, man, look, I know they're down 2, but with the way this team plays, everybody knows their late game heroics. But then also just like the Madrid and Bayern game, you're like, there's a goal. And you ever have that feeling when you're watching, it's like, there's goals in this game left. Like, it's not over. Yeah. Like, there's goals left. And look, the first goal I was not expecting. That was atrocious defending on that. Oh, my God. Like,
that own goal.
If it was so bad, all he had to do was just get out of the way. Mancini, what are you doing? Just get out of the way. In general, he had a really bad game as a whole. He was part of the reason why that Roma defense was getting absolutely cooked.
Yeah,
but dude, just get out of the way. You didn't even have to defend it. Just obviously you want to because you don't know who's behind you. But man, that was just embarrassing. And then at the end of the game, the late sub, Stanisic, amazing run by him. Cut inside, absolutely bang it off to the side netting. End it off. And what's funny? If you guys were watching it on Paramount Plus like I was or CBS, I'm sure everybody had the same commentator. That guy that was commentating, he was not shocked. This wasn't no Ray Hudson screaming into the mic. He was like, and they did it again. Yeah. They did it. I was like, this man
looked like depressed. He's like, God damn it. It looked like he sounded like he lost a bet.
He had the money line on Roma.
He looked like he had like 200 on the game. And he's like, fuck. He's like,
they did it again.
He's like, this guy's been commentating fucking Bayer Leverkusen like all season. But I'm glad they got it done because look, I'm rooting for them this tournament. I like to see the complete season and what they've done. And I've always admired Xabi Alonso in his playing days. So I'm really excited that they actually got the draw and they kept the unbeaten streak alive because it would have sucked to see that unbeaten streak lose to a team like Roma and the way they did with just 2 pens with 2 dumb mistakes. It wasn't even like they just got beat. So it's like that would have bothered me a little bit. But anyways, we move on. And so let's talk about the final. I guess let's give our predictions on the final. Will, I'm going to kick it to you first.
Anything else? I mean, come on. You already know how this is going to go.
Yeah. You think it's going to be that easy? I think it's a good game. I think it's tough.
I think it's going to be tight. I think it'll be tight. What do you guys think, though, Adam?
Leverkusen.
He's got Leverkusen. What you got? What's the score line? Give me a score line, madam.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
2-1 Leverkusen.
Who gets 2-1. The goals?
I don't know. I can't go that deep. Just give me. I'll give you this Leverkusen.
Your boy Shaka.
I ain't taking proxy. I just make shit up. I be pulling names out of my ass.
I feel that. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go either 2-1 or 1-0 Leverkusen. I think, like you said, Julian, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think hands down, Atalanta. I'll say it. They wiped us. They whopped Marseille. It wasn't even really a close game. So they're going to put up a good test. I think, obviously, they're still peaking a little bit with Serie A, but they're not super stressed out about it. I think they're kind of looking at this as, you know what? We really don't need to focus so much crazy in the season, because if we win this one game, then we will go to the Champions League. But the thing is, this one game is against Bayern, never losing. And Xavi Alonso, man. I mean, incredible all season, incredible this past, a couple hours ago, this past game. Dude, I think the big difference maker, the key maker again, is going to be their defense. And Nketiah, Taj, the tall center back from Germany. I mean, these guys, they're going to be massive yet again for the boys in Leverkusen. But if they can play clinical up top, I know Victor Boniface, Florian Wirtz. I mean, these guys have been crazy all season.
$100 million man, Florian Wirtz. He's going to be going for such a pretty penny.
And he honestly could.
We lost you again, Will. There you go. Start over.
I think 2-1 Leverkusen. He can put a stamp on this in this game and show the type of quality player he is. And he's already shown it all season, but this could be the real stamp to win the Europa League.
Yeah, man. This is in Dublin, right? I guess it doesn't matter because both teams are going to travel deep. Yeah. Man. I'm going to have to go with Leverkusen, man. I think when this game comes around, this is going to be the final game to get the complete season. And I think it's more than just winning the trophy. It's getting that last something, because let me look at Leverkusen's last couple games. What do they got here? Because they should win out. Dude, yeah. They got Bochum. They got Augsburg.
Bochum.
And Kaiserslautern. And Kaiserslautern.
Yeah, they're beating those teams.
They're cleaning it, because Kaiserslautern, honestly, shout out to them. Amazing run to the Pokal Championship.
Oh, yeah. That's the fun
awesome. But let's not get it twisted. Leverkusen is going to absolutely wipe the floor with them in the Pokal. They're going to get the treble. Leverkusen, they're going to be rolling hot. They're going to get the job done. Now, I do think it's going to come down to the end again. And I think it's going to be 2-1, because I don't see a lot of goals being in this game. Personally, I think both teams defensively have been pretty solid, and both teams are going to want to maintain control and possession. I think Atalanta is going to kind of give it to Leverkusen and let them kind of do what they're going to do with it and try to play that transition game. But we'll see how effective that'll be for them. But I'm going to have to go Leverkusen here, man. And it's going to end the way they've been doing it all year long. And it's going to happen right at the end, whether it be in extra time, whether it be in 90 plus minutes at the end, towards extra time in regulation. It's going to be them. But look, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Atalanta wins. I think they want to be that team that's like, oh, yeah, we played spoiler and just absolutely ruined your perfect season at the very last
perfect season.
Every person would hate them in the world. Like, every person.
I don't think they're worried about that. If there's anything that Italian fans think, is they don't care about what other people think about their clubs. There's some questionable things that some of these supporter groups are in. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a really good final. I'm honestly very excited, and honestly, I would love to see the Super Cup, the Supercopa, or whatever it's called, in August to see Leverkusen versus Madrid and see who gets the extra time.
Oh, you calling Madrid? First. Madrid's winning?
No, I'm just saying if they get it.
Okay.
That game, that Super Cup game, is just going to be all goals in like extra time. It's going to be 0-0 the entire game, and then just like raking in goals like 90 plus minutes, like 3-2 in the last like 10.
Wow.
It is good that you mentioned it because that is where we end the grand finale, the Champions League itself. 2 very, very good semifinals. They're really, really good. Super entertaining.
So which one do you want to start with first?
What do y'all?
Let's
PSG
go chronological.
Dortmund?
Yeah.
Okay. PSG, Adam, you want to start us off?
I mean, Dortmund, you were sleeping on them a lot earlier in the season. You didn't even think they were going to get out of that group.
Julian or me?
Last. Julian.
Wait, Julian?
He had them last in that group of death, and now here they are in the final.
Yeah, I was so wrong about that. I had them getting grouped. I had AC Milan winning the group. I think I had AC Milan, Newcastle, and PSG going to Europa League, and then Dortmund getting bounced. And man, I was completely wrong because Newcastle got bounced. AC Milan went to Europa League, and then PSG advanced. That was bad. But go ahead, Adam.
But yeah, Dortmund, they knew what they needed to do. They knew how they needed to play. They knew what they were up against. And shit, man, they made it count. But I think it's a lot more people are gonna be talking about the fact that PSG is still just a fucking meme at this point. They're losing. They're gonna be losing Mbappe, and they could not win with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi on the same fucking team. That's all they're gonna be remembered by. That failure.
Honestly, like I'm curious. We could talk about this down the road, but I am curious to see like what people think. Like, obviously, I don't know. Obviously, people aren't going to look bad, but I don't know. I'm curious what people are going to think of Mbappe's reign at PSG during his time towards the end of his career. Like, I'm sure he'll go back eventually. But what about you, Will? What was your thoughts on these 2 legs? Man.
Yeah, it was. It definitely. I don't know if you guys saw it. I kind of was obviously. I think like most of us rooting against PSG. Didn't want to see them win. Especially after they beat Barcelona in a very controversial way. But dude, Marco Reus, man. I honestly. I mean, we'll get into in a second the prediction for the final and stuff, but dude, I hope he wins it, man. This guy has
he's
put
such a
so
good
much
story
into this club, dude. It's incredible.
He'd be a legend if it wasn't for injuries. I mean, like a footballing legend. Like he'd be considered one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, exactly. And dude,
that's the only thing that held him back.
Yeah, like
it kept him from a World Cup medal injuries.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. But dude, like, how many times can a player, like, how many players can we think of have stayed that consistent with the club? I mean, this fan base, they love him and he loves them, and he's done so much for the team. I mean, their whole team, Adeyemi, Royce. I mean, dude, Jadon Sancho. I mean, this guy at Manchester United looked like a bum. I don't know if it's the United system or if it was just Sancho. I don't know if he didn't like the weather up in Manchester or the food wasn't good, but dude, since he's been at Dortmund, I mean, he's been lights out. He's been killing it. And then also, go ahead.
A lot of people would disagree with you there.
I'm going to disagree with you too because
you guys think he was better at Manchester?
A lot of people have been saying no. They've just been saying that he's been mid.
He hasn't got a lot of play time.
Not in my opinion.
I will say this.
I think he's been fine.
I think
he deserves
in his second go at Dortmund, he's definitely earned his spot as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you're seeing a lot from the Bundesliga fans, especially after that first game, that he was incredible. Like, he played amazing that game, and I think he's a guy with a ton of talent, and he's going to be good. I think this is the league for him. If he goes back to Manchester, he's really going to struggle. he really shouldn't go back. And honestly, I don't know if there's a spot for him. I don't know if they really want him back. So I'm curious to see what his future holds. But yeah, I mean, look, the stats don't show up for him. But if you do watch him play and you watch him play at Dortmund, he is a big key contributor in there. And I think sometimes you see like these Manchester United fans who only watch the Prem. They just, they pull up FotMob and look at the stats and you're like, yeah, he's not playing that well, which, yes, I agree. I don't think he's been playing amazing. I think he's been decent, but also, there's more to it than just the stats as well. I think he's also just done a great job of really pressing and pushing, and really he fits well into that Dortmund system of what they do and that constant press. But yeah, anyways, go ahead, Will. I just wanted to
I completely agree. Like you guys said, with the season, with Dortmund and especially with United fans, I mean, that could be, like I said, for me personally, I think Sancho, obviously I'm not saying, this guy is, the Lionel Messi son, he's the next big thing, but he has been good. And I think the turnaround to see from him, and not only from him, but also his former Man U teammate, I believe they were playing together, Sabitzer had an okay spell at United, but I mean, Marcel, the Austrian, since he's came back with them, he's just been so good, dude. And I mean, you could go top to bottom with this team. I mean, you look obviously at the defense, Matt Hummel scored the goal. You look at the midfield. Dude. I mean, Emre Can, he's a dog, dude. Julian Brandt. And even like, what's that one? The center forward, Fulkrug. Yeah. I mean, dude,
I can't.
This guy, bro, he used to play at Hanover like a couple years ago. And he's obviously a little bit older now. He's like 31, but now he's going to be playing in a Champions League final. I mean, dude, shout out to that guy. Like, he's really been putting in the work. But the team top to bottom's good. And I know we'll talk a little bit about the other game and see what you guys think.
What you think of PSG, though? To go on the other side of it.
Dude, just buns, bro. Buns. This team, honestly, you want me to be real, Julian? I think they got up for the Barcelona game because it was Barcelona. I think they were hyped because this is Onus Dembele's former team, bro. I hate Xavi. I hate Messi. I hate everything about Barcelona. I can't, dude. Even Hakimi and half of these guys don't even know what's going on. Like, they just are like, you know what? Screw Barcelona. And I think they really got up for that game. Obviously, the round of 16 game was against PSG. Forgot who they played. I think it was Copenhagen.
The round of 16. Give me a second. Because I'm drawing a blank too. It was
Real Sociedad.
Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So an easier game in a way, and then obviously the Barca game. So I think from the start, this team kind of, obviously, with Mbappe up top, you still have Hakimi, in the back, you have Donnarumma. There's still, obviously, it's a balanced team, but I think yet again, this team can't find that perfect connection. I mean, Dembele, I think there's just still too much ego on this team, man. I mean, regardless, like, I don't know if it's something about the guys in Paris or if it's something about the club culture, but they just can't seem to find it within themselves.
I mean, at this point, it has to be club culture because, I mean,
it has to be, yeah.
The rotation of squad and the players that they've had in and out and the talent. Yeah. And it's just like, fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, so I'm sorry I'm talking a little about Dortmund, but you kind of went in and I don't want to repeat a lot of stuff that you said, but the only thing I want to add to that is Hummel's dude played out of his mind defensively in the second leg. And then same thing with Kobel and the goalkeeper. Dortmund had a really good game defensively in the second leg, but I also think the midfield tended to struggle a little bit. And I think it's obviously Dortmund's game. Like, you want PSG to have the ball. You're like, here, take it. You're not going to score on us. And that's what happened. I will say, and I'm curious, you guys might think it's a hot take. I think Dortmund played well and they deserved to win, I thought PSG lost this game more so than Dortmund winning this game. And I say that because the amounts of chances that PSG had was in both legs, but especially in the second leg. Dude, you would think that goalpost was the size of a fucking telephone pole by the amount of times they were banging that shit off that thing. I mean, and there was some little
according to FOTMob, in the second leg, 3.25 XG and 70% possession to get no goals. I mean, that's all you need to know, really.
Dude, over 3 XG. They hit the post 4 times, one by a banger from Mendes, and then Vitinha from also outside the box. Oh my gosh, man. And then Mbappe has a sitter in front of the goal. Granted, it had a weird bounce, so it's tough. Look, but you're also like, dude, you're fucking Mbappe. Like, you're like the best player in the world right now. You got to step up in games like these, and he didn't. I mean, I don't think he played terrible, but he's like, at the end of the day, you're fucking Mbappe. Like, Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, these guys, they showed up in these big moments. He didn't. And look, and I don't think it's all on him. I think there was a lot of chances that were missed because they had chance after chance after chance. And the way that Vitinha was playing was absolutely lights out. The dude was creating chances left and right. That dude was absolutely balling today. He was playing so well. And even Marquinhos, like, both of those two have done a really great job of really distributing the ball. So, like, the fact that they couldn't get the ball in the back of the net is just so disappointing. And then they bring in Kang-in Lee.
Lee Kang-in.
Dude couldn't. He couldn't. He had a couple of chances too, and he couldn't get it in. It's like, man, I felt like everybody took a shot and couldn't get anything going. Dembele, I thought Dembele played an all right game. Obviously, he wasn't up to the level of what he was when he was playing against Barca. And I would say in general, I think Dembele is playing better at PSG than he did at Barca. I thought at Barca, he felt so one-dimensional. I started to see a little bit more skill with him at PSG, and I don't know if that's just I think it's a little bit more due to the system because I think Luis Enrique is a better manager than Xavi. But as for the game, that's kind of how I feel. I think especially in the second leg, I think the first leg, there's a little bit more of an argument to say that Dortmund played a really solid game. Sancho really stepped up. Fulkrug stepped up. Like, people played really well, and they deserved to win that game. I just felt like the second game, while they played great defensively, Hummels played amazing, Kobo played amazing, they did allow way too many chances, especially from outside the box. It was almost like if they had the yips, like you hear in baseball when the pitcher just can't throw it in the strike zone. Like, that's literally what it felt like watching this PSG team. And man, the amount of times you hear that thing dinging off that post was just, I couldn't even imagine being a Paris fan watching that game. That game would have driven me nuts if I was a Paris fan. So if you are a Paris fan, please let us know down below how much that game just made you absolutely crazy.
How do you feel? Are you mad? Are you happy? Let us know.
I doubt they're happy. But all right, let's hop over to the next game. We had Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. That was yesterday. I'm going to point it to you, Adam, first. What do you think of these two legs, and then most specifically the second leg? And how things
first of all, as for a neutral, it was such an excellent watch. If you didn't have a dog in this fight, what a great watch. Oh, man, you just can't kill Real Madrid, can you? They always seem to annoying. It is annoying, and it's funny because some of the substitutions too. And remember, you were like, "What the hell are they doing?" Subbing in I can't even pronounce
Jose Lu.
Fucking Jose Lu.
Okay, so I gotta let Will know this because So me and Adam are in another group chat with friends where we all work together in Miami, and we talk during a lot of the games a lot. And during that game, when the subs, Ancelotti pulled out Rodrigo for Jose Lu, and I was like, what? Why are you taking out Rodrigo? Is one of the best wingers in the world. A massive goal scoring threat. You're going to put in Jose Lu. Well, yes, Jose Lu has scored a decent amount of goals this year. with some late game heroics, just like what you see in Leverkusen. But it's like, come on, man! Like this is a Champions League. You're going to take out Rodrigo? So I said, I was like, I just typed in, I was like, Jose Lu for Rodrigo? ? Bro, I shit you not. Like 2 minutes later, this fucker gets a tap in, like, and then he gets the game-winning goal. And I'm like, what in the fuck? And even today, the guys are in the chat. We're like, I can't believe Julian said Jose Lu. He's like, I still can't get over the fact that Julian said Jose Lu for Rodrigo ?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like within 15 minutes, this man scores 2 to fucking win the game. It's wild. So I just wanted to add that backstory so you know what Adam's talking about. But yeah, go ahead, Adam.
But yeah, so he comes in. I mean, absolute crazy scenes. I mean, they were having chances. They definitely were knocking on the door. They had a disallowed goal. You could say Vardrid as much as you want, because you have an excuse because of what happened at the end. But you know what? It's hard to say what would have happened with that last offside call with Bayern Munich, because they blew the whistle so early that Real Madrid did stop playing. So you never know what would have happened. But yeah, it was definitely a big mistake, and it takes away from the match a little bit. But still, I think, day later, looking back, it's like, damn, I'm not surprised that Real Madrid ends up back in the final.
Dude, did you see the press conference at the end?
What are you talking about? With De La Jet?
Yeah, De La Jet. He's like,
I heard about it. I didn't watch it. I heard about it.
He said the ref came up to him and said, "I'm sorry.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Dude, this is a UEFA Champions League semifinal. You can't say that, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Adam, Julian, I don't know about you guys, how many Real Madrid fans you have, but I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse on myself. But a lot of my friends, even like here, I have a good friend of mine that lives in the Netherlands. Shout out to Ilian, by the way. Love you, man. But, dude, these guys are some diehard Real Madrid. Dude, they are squirking and gurking all over these guys. Like, I don't know what it is, but you can't make that mistake. I mean, dude, Antonio Rudiger's arm is literally out. It's out when he's defending. And then his body, his hip. And, I mean, obviously, we can look at replays. You can look at different angles and say, well, this or well, that. Dude, regardless you can't say, dude, I mean, Nacho, I don't know if you guys saw that first goal. It was like an own goal, but they ended up calling it back. Nacho literally throws his hands up.
Dude, Nacho fucking choke slammed Kimmich, bro.
He thought this guy thought it was WWE, and he's throwing him on the ground, and Kimmich is like bleeding. And I'm like, dude, and the Madrid fans are pissed about that. And I'm like, dude, this is absolutely wild. Like I said, these Madrid fans,
it's funny because we're probably gonna get shit in the comments about this, but I
don't care, dude. For Real Madrid, bro, I'll go at it.
Dude, I don't know if because I'm a Barca fan, so I'm just like whatever. But it's like, bro, I deadass saw people trying to say like that was a soft call on Nacho. I'm like, what? A soft call? He had no reason to put his hands on his neck. He put his hands on his neck and pushed down. But as for the big call, though, look, man, it's modern day soccer. Ever since the VAR era came into place, every ref knows you do not pull up the offsides flag. You let the play out. That is like nowadays as a linesman, that's like 101 now. It's not like what it used to be pre-VAR where it's like they call it immediately. You have to let it play out. And look, people can make the argument like what Adam said, where it's like, well, Madrid kind of stopped playing because they saw the flag and the whistle, whatever. But I'm like, you also don't know at the end of the day. And it's like, you got to let that play out. Honestly, if you look at even if Madrid did stop playing, that was a goal. Like if you watch it from behind, was it Muller that shot? I want to say like that was going in.
De La Jet,
regardless. Was it De La Jet that shot? I thought De La Jet was the one that was off. But and then you see and then people are like, well, that was like 5 minutes after the 9 minutes, which Yeah, but there's a lot of stoppage. There was a lot of stoppage. I expected it was going to go over 9 minutes. Like by 5 minutes into extra time, I was like, this is going to go a lot longer. So people are like, well, you got 5 minutes anyways. I'm like, come on, like, get out of here. Like either way, regardless, the play was still playing. But anyways, I'll let you, I guess, keep on going.
Just one quick shout out. I want to shout out this guy. We were talking about it earlier. He is actually the only other CONCACAF player, and I looked it up real quick. Alphonso Davies has also won a Champions League alongside with Keylor Navas and Christian Pulisic. Dude, shout out to Alphonso. I'm going to be honest. I'm an Alphonso Davies simp. I love this guy. Not a Canadian fan by no means, but dude, he should have started, in my opinion. I think it was really sad what happened to Serge Gnabry. Ups to him. I hope he can recover. He'll have to get ready quickly for the Euros. But, dude, Fonzie comes in. I mean, he was just a difference maker. You guys probably saw on FootMob. I mean, his rating, I think, was like the third, second highest, or it might have been the highest for Bayern Munich. Like, the guy had absolutely lights out game, doing his thing. I mean, the goal was beyond. And it wasn't even the goal, dude. Defensively, coming back and forth. I think the whole team, I think Bayern honestly played it smart. I think they waited it out. They waited out their substitutions. Thomas Tuchel try to get a feel for the game, try to go kind of hand in hand with Real Madrid, and then started making his subs, after obviously the early one. But, it sucks for Bayern. I'm not a Bayern fan, but I'm definitely was rooting for him. I did not want to see Real Madrid and yet another Champions League final. But
I don't care. Fuck Kane. So.
Hey, dude, he went away that second game. So,
look, I thought Bayern in general played a pretty poor game. I think it took an incredible run from Alphonso Davies to even get that lead. I thought Tuchel got outcoached by Ancelotti throughout most of the game. I thought Sané didn't play good enough. No one seemed to really play good enough and really show up. Gnabry had a really great pass into. What happened with Bayern is I felt every time they had a good chance, a good play starting and creating, they couldn't get that final pass in. There was like multiple times. Obviously, the one from Gnabry to Kane, and I'm drawing a blank on a couple others, but they couldn't get that final one through. And it took, honestly, a fucking one hell of a run and shot from Alphonso Davies to get that into the back of the net. And I was like, man, Real Madrid's going to get a goal in there. They are. They're going to get a goal. Like it is what it is. I didn't think it was going to happen so late in the way that it happened. And I didn't think they were going to get two, honestly. By the time it hit like 90 or 80, I thought it was going to end up going to extra time and maybe into pens. But I had a feeling they were going to get another one. I had a feeling it was going to go into extra time. But look, man, I thought Thomas Tuchel played absolute soccer terrorism. Absolute soccer terrorism. He parked the bus against Real Madrid. You took out your best attackers. He took out Musiala, Harry Kane, and look, I was just getting onto Sané, but like you took out those three. Those are your three best attackers right now. Obviously, Alphonso Davies stayed in because he has the legs and the speed. Why? Why are you parking the bus against Alphonso Davies? You haven't been able to stop Real Madrid all game. It took an amazing game from Emmanuel Neuer, who still's got it after all these years, to keep them in check. And honestly, you look at the ratings, and I'm looking at the rating, 6.5 is not fair to that man. Granted, he had one mistake that led to a goal, so that's going to drop it immediately, which I'm going to get to in a second. But like up until that goal, dude was playing lights out. He was getting nothing. Like defensively, Bayern couldn't handle it. Vinny was absolutely cooking Kimmich.
Going crazy.
Kimmich he just couldn't keep up with Vinny. He just couldn't. And I thought the approach that Thomas Tuchel took was just set up to just literally perform soccer terrorism. It's like, why are you doing this? You haven't been able to score. You've been struggling to score all game. You haven't really been able to stop Real Madrid. The best way for you to stay in this game, I think, was to keep your offensive attack in there and try to get another one. Because the way it was shaking out was, which ended up eventually happening, was Real Madrid was going to get another goal. and they were going to get one in. You need to keep your attackers in there so you can keep it going because Thomas Tuchel, man, like people have been after his head all year at Bayern, one of the worst years. I always said they should have never got rid of Nagelsmann last year. It never made sense to me to get rid of him just to bring in a Thomas Tuchel who came from Chelsea in that shit show. I will never understand the reasoning behind wanting to bring him in. And he just got absolutely outcoached by Ancelotti, man.
And Ancelotti's been very class. He's one of the main reasons why Madrid are where they are. But
I do not want to blame it all on.
Yeah, exactly. Him. But where do you think this final's gonna go?
All
right, man. We'll hit it off with the final predictions.
All right, I'll quick it real quick. Dude. Just honestly, off the top of my brain, how to go with the result. I mean, what my head is saying is Real Madrid 2-0. Vinny gets a brace, whatever, maybe 3-0 Rodrygo. Dude, my heart's saying Dortmund, though, for Royce. I think this guy has done it all season long with them. They're fighting for Champions League. Obviously, for him, it won't end up mattering because he's going to retire or go to another club or, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, MLS. We'll see what he does. But I think this is just this is what they've been waiting for. I think Ian as well for Real Madrid. So that's what kind of worries me. And what also worries me a little bit as well, because I do want to see Dortmund put on a good show and win the game. But what's a little bit scary with Real Madrid is that they've kind of also, like a pencil sharpener as well, have been just churning. I mean, beat City in penalties, beat Bayern Munich by the craziest of games we'll ever see, this year. So I just think they're just getting better and better. And the same in the league play. Like, earlier in the season, they were drawing a few, losing a couple away, but now they're not even losing, dude. Like, they're just going at it. So I think honestly, Madrid is going to win. I have to, obviously, we have our teams and we support, but using my conscience, Madrid's going to win. I think it's going to be close, though. Extra time, 2-1, maybe 3-1. I could see a very similar game that they had years ago against Atletico Madrid when it was tied 1-1, and Madrid tied it late. Dortmund will tie it late. And then in extra time, Madrid's just going to pounce on it. And then Vinny, Rodrygo, Jude, Valverde, everybody's just going to go full force and they'll win it. So,
yeah.
I
agree. My heart wants Dortmund, but my problem is I just feel like, Dortmund, I see them scoring a goal. And the question is, do you see Real Madrid scoring a goal or less? No, I don't. I see them scoring at least 2, and I think a 2-1 is probably fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to put this. The last time, if you guys could guess, when was the last time Real Madrid lost? Just give me a date, like a month, or whatever.
March. Sometime in March.
Adam, what do you think?
Not a bad guess.
The last time they lost.
I'd say the very beginning of April, first week of April, that's my guess.
Nope. The last time they lost was in the Copa del Rey quarterfinal against Atletico Madrid in January 18th. Was the last time they lost. Wow. And before that, they didn't.
That's tough.
I got to keep on going. And the last time before that, they lost to Atletico in September.
Atletico's their bogey.
2 losses. They lost to Atletico in La Liga, and then they lost to them in Copa del Rey. Those are their only 2 losses all year long.
Well, it sounds like I know where you're going to go with this, Julian. Who do you think's winning this? Yeah. As much as I know you don't like it.
Oh
yeah. So I have Madrid winning. I think it's the logical choice. Obviously, just from top to bottom, the talent, the starting 11, the bench, everything. This is they're going to get a lot
to say that.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I believe Dortmund is going to give Real Madrid a tougher time than Bayern.
I hope they do. I really, really hope so.
I thought Bayern played very poor. I thought they didn't do well. I thought Tuchel got outcoached. And I think, what is it, Terzic? Terzic for Dortmund, the manager at Dortmund. I think he's been coaching very well. I think he's done a great job of implementing the Dortmund system. Obviously, there's a lot of criticisms you could have. Dortmund falling into 5th place this year and then bottling the league last year. But I think he's better than Tuchel. And I think as a team, this Dortmund team plays really well together and really well cohesively, from the goalkeeper and Kobel to Füllkrug up at the top. And if you're going to get that same Sancho that you got against PSG, if you're going to get that same Hummel that you got against PSG, and Adameni and Füllkrug, and everybody can keep this thing going and keep on, I think they're going to give them a tougher time. And I think it's going to come down to a Real Madrid late heroic again. It's because I could see a world where Dortmund takes the lead up 1-0.
Yeah.
And then Real Madrid does the Real Madrid thing and then gets to basically the same thing that will happen. But I think Dortmund's going to look better than PSG, better than Bayern Munich, because the way they held their own against that PSG attack, which you can make an argument probably better than Real Madrid's. Some people might agree with that. Look, Gonzalo Ramos, which I actually forgot to bring up in our reaction. Gonzalo Ramos looked horrible for PSG. He was so bad. He was missing terrible chances at the striker position. I was a little shocked that they even started him, to be honest, especially in that striker role. But anyways, this is just lining up for Real Madrid to do it again. They're too good. They're too hot. They're rolling. But like I said, I do think Dortmund's going to give them a run for their money. I don't think they're going to be no slouch. I don't think, like you guys said, or Will said, 3-0. I think it's going to be a grinder. It's going to be a meat grinder, and it's going to be close, possibly extra time. I see a 2-1 though. I don't see a lot of goals. There's not a lot of goals to be had, honestly.
Yeah, and we'll definitely do a deeper dive as it gets closer.
But yeah, man,
get into those dog days of June. But that's that's it from me. I don't really have anything else to add until we get to that point.
Yeah, dude. And I just want to give a little update to all the fans out there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start transitioning over to a lot more international soccer talk, because obviously it's the summer of soccer, summer of football. A lot of the big tournaments are playing, Copa America, the Euros. So we're going to want to do some preview episodes going into that. So up until pretty much the Champions League final and the Europa League final, that whole week when all that stuff's going to go down, we're going to do some in-depth group previews. So be on the lookout for that. I'm actually really excited for those. We're going to do some research on our own and get some talking notes and kind of talk about and discuss these groups. I think it'd be a really fun time. We're going to do one Copa group and then one Euro group. And yeah, man. So be on the lookout for that. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys because we've been talking a lot of club soccer. Obviously, it's because of that time of the year. Things ramping up outside of this March window. But now it's summertime. It's the summer of international football, and we're going to really ramp up for that. But any final thoughts, Will? And I'll point at you, Adam.
Just honestly, like you were saying, Julian, Adam's got Poland. Julian, you got Costa Rica, and Puerto Rico, if you want to be technical. And then I got Panama. So, dude, I'm excited for this. That's not
Copa America.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, though, we have all three of our respective countries there. So I'm excited to talk about our thoughts, our opinions on our groups. You know, I know some of us have tougher groups than others, Adam's group. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited for it. So we'll see what we can get into and get ready for the summer.
Adam, any final thoughts?
I think it's all been said.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys once again. If you guys made it to the end of the show, greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get to 200 subscriptions. So please hit the subscribe button. We want to get there. You know, look, man, I want we got first goal. Let's try to hit 500. Well, actually 200. And then after 200, let's go for 500. You know, then after 500, we go for 1,000. Then after 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. You already know what's up. Let's go. But yeah. And then obviously, if you're on the audio platforms, please leave a review, a star rating. If you're on Apple or Spotify, whatever you choose, let people know that you like us, because we appreciate that. But yeah, guys, we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.